So now I want to share some things that have supported my menstrual cycle immensely. So I have a little list. I'll describe them each pretty briefly and take what resonates, leave the rest, and I'll explain why for each of them. Once again, I have been on this journey for I don't even know how many years, but it all started when I had really, really painful periods. Super painful, super heavy. Sometimes it would just put me into a panic attack. I would black out. It was just really painful, and it was always only day one. So I had all of this information in my journal, and I actually track my cycle. And this is one of those things that is super supportive, and I highly suggest. I've never used an app because I journal almost every single day, and I like to write just the day that I'm on. And I like to write just how I'm feeling along with my journaling, so it doesn't feel like an extra thing to add on. I put the day, I put a little heart, and then I put the date. And that really helps me get to know where I'm at in my cycle, whether I am on my moon, right? In that inner winter, that winter energy of being in the bleeding phase, which is the very beginning of your cycle. If you don't already know, day one is going to be the first day that you bleed. If you are not bleeding right now, day one may be the new moon. This is starting a new cycle, so you can also utilize the moon for that. But once again, your cycle, whether you bleed on the new moon, full moon, any phase of the moon, like that's going to be really telling of like the energy that you're in and the energies that you're working with in relation to the celestial bodies. But it's not something that you need to like try and align your cycle with the moon. Like, no, your womb is already doing that. It's already in constant communication with the moon and with the earth and with the seasons right now and your life. The more that you connect with your womb and your cycle and honor and love, like the cycle comes exactly when she needs to. Honor that, right? There's no need to stress about it. The more stress that we put on our bodies, the more that we delay the actual release and the healing and the connection and the beauty and the love that is here, the transformation that is here, the embodiment that's here. Tracking your cycle is super helpful. That's what I started with, and it really helped me see where I was at, and when I was bleeding, when I was in my inner spring, which is that follicular phase, and then you go into ovulation. I got to know like when I was actually ovulating, when I was actually fertile, like that fertile window, and it changes, it's not always the same. We have to remember that and honor that. The days change, how long it is changes, and I love being able to reflect on that because it shows so much about my lifestyle and what I've been doing in the past few seasons and cycles or months in my life to see what has kind of added to it. So I love pairing like the cycle tracking with my journaling, and then going into that luteal phase, which is the inner fall right before you bleed, that PMS. Journaling during that time is super helpful because this is a powerful space of like the veil being lifted. Once again, all of this looks different for everyone, so it's so important that you track this for yourself and try not to put yourself on like a calendar or schedule, because as you get to reconnect, there may be some shifts and changes. And I know for me, for the longest time, I've been super consistent, like 28-day cycle, and now it's become like a 30 to 31 day cycle. And I have recently moved through a breakup, and I feel like in this process of grief and release and healing that I'm moving through, it definitely changed the course of my cycle and how it's felt. And that's another thing, is that depending on who you're with in relationship, or depending on your relationships in general, it doesn't even have to be like a more intimate relationship, that can affect your cycle as well. The food that you eat affect it. And that's my other point, is that herbal infusions have been super, super powerful for me in supporting my cycle. So I love working with stinging nettle, and this could be teas or infusions. I love working with just really nourishing herbs, red clover, red raspberry leaf. Rose was something that really helped me when I had a lot of cramps. Rose is beautiful for actually soothing pain in this space. And there are many, 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 many other herbs as well. And I love working with them one at a time so I can really see how they support me. But that's something I've noticed that has been highly impactful for me, because it's really bringing in a lot more nutrients and minerals into my body that I may not be getting in my food. And I noticed that my food habits and what I crave and how I eat and how my energy works during each phase of my cycle is different. So I highly suggest teas and utilizing herbs to support you to get some extra nourishment. The next thing that I wrote down was no tight clothing. So this came in maybe just a few years ago. I started to wear a lot more skirts. I trained under a few teachers, and that was something that they shared was the energy of the earth, to really connect with the earth. The skirt really allowed like this spiral to come up and through the yoni so that you were in connection with the earth and you're communicating with the earth and the plants and the land through, the skirt even touching the ground and touching the plants around you when you go walk. Of course, if you're out with a lot of people, like wearing some tighter clothing or making sure that you're wearing underwear and things that cover up is really nice, so that you're not pulling in that energy. Same goes with the crown of your head. I know I'm sharing a lot of information, but if you're feeling really sensitive and you don't want to take in a lot of other energies, like make sure your sacral is and your root is covered, and your head as well. So little tidbit there. But that's something I've noticed has been initially super supportive, because then I was grounding so much more and it feels so nice. So I love wearing skirts. I love wearing clothes that don't feel too tight. If you have a hard time with tight clothing, that could be a nervous system thing as well. That could just mean that you're feeling a bit dysregulated. There's something going on there. Make sure that you're honoring your body. But overall, tight clothing will actually cut some circulation and energy flow, and that's not something that I desire. So I'm very mindful of the types of clothing and where it actually feels a bit tight on my body, because I want that natural flow of energy. So the next thing is rest and aligned movement, staying fluid. I tried so hard to stick with routines when it came to exercise and movement. Yoga has always been a staple for me because that just changed my life, and my body loves it, my mind loves it, my energy loves it. So that's something I always lean on no matter what. And I recognize the style of yoga based on what phase of the cycle I'm in and how I'm feeling energetically, it can change. Something that has been really powerful is core work. That before, in that luteal phase, at PMS phase and the ovulation phase, I notice when I really allow myself to go into a lot of core work to really support this area of my body and to get moving, to stay active, is super helpful in lessening the cramps. Now, I have not had cramps these past few cycles. This entire year has been cramp free, which is, it feels like a miracle, but it's honestly perfectly aligned where I'm at in my life. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that my cycle right now has come to a point that is so much more easeful. Like, I can love on my cycle so much, and I could still have massive pain and go through these things that, a lot of people aren't really excited about and don't want to happen. They just want it to be super easy and not to have to worry about it. But I've nourished a relationship with my womb to a point that no matter what is being shared with me, I'm here to listen. I'm here to honor and offer and connect and give myself what it is that I need, and let it be a part of my healing journey, not something that's separate. Along with that exercise, the rest is super important. If we are go all the time, then we're not necessarily going to offer our bodies, our wombs, the proper release that gets to happen when we are on our moon, when we're on our bleed. So honor your energy. This is all intuition. This is all getting to know your energy, taking responsibility of your energy and your power, right? When we reclaim our power, we take responsibility of our actions, and we see how we can adjust and create space to give ourselves what it is that we need. Okay, so honor your energy. Just because a book or a resource or someone says that your ovulatory phase is supposed to be like high energy, the summer energy and all these things, and you're not feeling that, maybe because you're burnt out, maybe because you just need to rest, don't put yourself in a box. Once again, don't put yourself in a box. Coming back to food, kind of like I talked about with herbal infusions, make sure that you're nourishing yourself Make sure that you're not, malnourished in this process as well. Recognize, the foods that you're drawn to and why, and play around, okay? Play around, really love on yourself. Don't put yourself in a box. Don't feel like you need to be on a diet. Honestly, for me, eating intuitively has been key, and I've been doing this for years, and it's shifted and changed obviously per season, per cycle, and it feels good. It feels really good because I give myself permission, and I also recognize the level of quality that I am desiring. I always want to make sure that I'm getting more organic foods, that I know where I'm getting any poultry that I may eat or any fish that I may eat, which is not always often, but I'm noticing like the type of fish, the type of meat, if I have any meat or eggs or whatever it may be, and where it's coming from. So that's really important because I feel like personally that has affected my energy. But the key is to make sure that you're fueling yourself properly, because that is feeding your energy. It's offering your body what it needs to actually go through a cycle, to go through life. So honor and let it be playful. Can you let it be playful? I know not everyone has really positive relationships with food, and I've been learning so much about like taste, the different tastes and what they have to offer. There's so much energy work when it comes to food and taste and the plants and where they come from and everything. So just being mindful, but don't put yourself in a box. Honor yourself. Sometimes, especially with our womb, we get to honor our cravings and what we need at certain times, and to recognize like where harmony and balance is needed. So once again, it's intuition. Connect with yourself. You know. And if you feel like you don't, this is a beautiful practice of developing your intuition. It doesn't always just happen like that, okay? For some of us, we woke up and it was like that, but sometimes it isn't always like that, depending on, what life has offered us. Earthing your womb, grounding your womb, laying on your stomach on the earth for like 20 to 30 minutes. So nice. I don't get to do this every single day, but I try to do it at least a few times a week. And also to walk barefoot, to really get my skin and my body in contact with the surface of the earth, to rebalance electromagnetic frequencies, to balance my energy, to release tension and inflammation in my body. There is science behind this, and there is also great spirit medicine here too. And to be able to have a connection with the land as a human being is my life's work. So I invite you to get to know the spirit of the land, to ask permission to bleed on the land, to ask permission to lay on the land, to be in reciprocity, to give offerings. And maybe that's not your thing, and that's okay. Then just be present. Just be present and open, and recognize that the land that you're living on has spirit, it has connection, its own relationship to human beings, and to everyone that lives on it, right? This time with the land, this grounding, is going to feel that much more powerful when we allow ourselves to have a connection with where it is that we're living, with Mother Earth and Mama Gaia, and one that is more open and curious, and not, once again, putting the earth or the spirit of the land in a box. Because they all have their own character and energy and relationship and history and past. And so do you. So we get to treat the plants and the creatures and the land as such, as a relationship, and a very abundant one. So giving a lot of gratitude for that. All right, something else along those lines that has been really beautiful and powerful is offering my blood to the land. So this is a practice that is not for everyone, but I have been in indigenous spaces where they've shared that giving our blood back to the land, back to the earth element, was helping in balancing the energies and the harmonies within the earth. Because oftentimes we give our blood back to the water, then the blood is known to have more of a fiery element to it. So why would we give the fire to the water? Why would we dilute that spirit, right? So giving it back to the earth, it is said that there will be less bloodshed of man, that there would be less fires, and there would be more harmonization. with human and earth and the elements in general. So because of that, and also because I love giving offerings and connecting to the land in this way, and even offering my blood to the plants, our blood is so powerful and so healing. It was going to make a baby. It was preparing itself to create life, to create a human being. So being able to give that back to the land is a blessing and something that may not be for everyone, but I want to invite you to do that. And I was told that it's nice to find either, put it in your plants, you can even have it on your altar, or just give it back to a private area on the land. The next thing here is energy cleansing and clearing. Energy work, okay? Not just by anyone, like by you. Taking responsibility of your energy is once again this reclamation of your power. So I talked a little bit about protecting your root area, making sure that you are covered when you're going around a lot of people, if you're feeling pretty sensitive, same with your head. Allowing yourself to engage in cleansing practices, utilizing your power of word, right? The power of your voice. As we connect to our voice, we also connect to our womb. So speaking aloud, your affirmations and your prayers or your mantras or your intentions, speaking them aloud can be super powerful in doing any type of energy cleansing and clearing. Energy clearing can also look like a yoni steam, which once again is not for everyone. Working with specific plants to help with that as well. You can wear certain plants or have certain amulets or tokens or whatever it may be to just support you in cleansing, clearing your energy, or calling in energy depending on how you're feeling and where you're at in your cycle. But I found this to be super, super helpful because the womb space is that space that holds a lot. I know this is a space that once we get to that PMS stage, that luteal phase, that fall and autumn season within our cycle, we start to have a lot coming up, and this is what we've held. So being able to allow ourselves a proper cleansing and clearing of our energy, however it is that you do it through meditation, can be so, so helpful to have a more easeful bleed and moon time. That's something that has been a staple for me, and that's something that I have grown over time and practice to become more comfortable with. All of us, we have spiritual guides that we can lean on. We have ancestors, benevolent ancestors that we can lean on, and just making sure that you're connecting with those that are of the highest and purest light, that are for your highest and best good. In this work, if you'd like some support in clearing your energy, use the power of your visualization. Don't forget your imagination. All of that can be utilized to cleanse, to release, to assist you in transformation and change and alchemy that gets to happen of the energies that you're feeling, of the thoughts that may be coming up, the shadows, the moments, the reactions. Just really, really honoring yourself and giving yourself space. This once again is coming back to creating space and getting to know your energy, getting to know what is not yours, and really releasing what you don't need to be holding right now, what is not yours to be held. All right, so that is also very helpful for an easeful womb time. So final thing, I talked about movement and exercise and rest and finding balance in that and not putting yourself in a box. You don't need to stay in the lines. Somatic practices. So a somatic practice is a practice that is body-based. So you're listening to your body. You're allowing your body to move fluidly, intuitively. You're not necessarily following the asana flow of yoga, doing one pose and then the other and having the transitions. Instead, you are fully and completely allowing your body to take lead, and this can be really gentle. I have some practices on my channel that you can check out, and I invite you, with these somatic practices, because so many teachers and so many people have so many different somatic practices because it literally just is a body-based practice. Pick and choose what feels good. Okay, really, this is to support your nervous system, to bring yourself into deeper regulation. If you are feeling, hypervigilant, or, you're very stimulated, you're feeling like you're going to a fight or flight, or perhaps if you're feeling very understimulated, or maybe you're fully overwhelmed to the point that you are going numb, that you are freezing, that you are fawning and trying to make sure everyone else is okay, or that you are dissociating and pulling back and just completely lost, and you may not be on super far on the spectrum. So we can notice, when the anxiety comes in, when the dissociation comes in, when we start to get to recognize these signs from our body, from our eyes, from our mind, what state that we're in. This can help us to recognize, okay, let's listen to the body, and maybe I just need to gently wake my body up if I'm going into that more numb space. I'm kind of freezing here. Or perhaps if you're already like high energy, maybe that means it's not time to shake it out. Maybe that means you need to start to gradually start to come down in that energy by doing things that are more relaxing, exhaling longer on your breath. Utilize your breath in somatic practices. This has been super helpful because it's allowed me to release a lot of tension in my body. It's given me so much more permission to be in my body more comfortably. So I highly suggest doing some research or reaching out to me. I love talking about this. I have a specific workshop that is going to be on the membership, if it isn't already, that talks all about somatics, a bit about trauma and our responses of the nerve system when we're dysregulated and regulated, and the principles of somatic work. So if you want to see that, you can reach out to me. We can have a session. I can even lead you through, what somatics can be for you based on where you're at. This is something that I love and something that I've been offering for my clients for years now. Or become a member and join that workshop and you'll learn so much more. But it's honestly so much more simple than it seems. And I just want to let you know that is a very supportive thing that you can always lean on to release a bit of tension, which once again makes a much more easeful cycle. So that is all I have for you. I shared a lot of information. I hope you took notes. No, just take what resonates, leave the rest, and I pray that this supports you deeply. And I would love to hear if there's anything that deeply supports your menstrual cycle. If you have any questions, put them in the comments down below. If this served you in any way, shape, or form, please do like the video and subscribe. I'm going to be offering more videos on the womb. So yeah, any and all questions is very helpful, and I'm excited to have more conversations, to offer more practices and spaces to drop deeper into this space. But I'm so thankful to have this time with you. Thank you for spending all of this time. I send you so much love. I send your womb so much love, and I hope that this connection, this calling comes into view for you, and that you feel and give yourself permission to create space for it, to create space for you, because you deserve it. Your presence is your gift. So if you can get a little bit more present with yourself, little by little, every single day in your practice and in your day, this will really anchor you so much more deeply into your intuition, into your womb space, into being able to take action and create a life that feels fluid and feels aligned and resonant to you. So thank you once again. I send you so much love, and I will see you in another video.